What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's a new week, and so that means it's time for New Comic Book Day Top Picks. This week, I'm excited about quite a few books, but I'm just going to run through the list kind of quick and simple and add details as I go along. But before I ramble too much, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so that you don't miss anything. The first book on the list this week is Origins number 1. This is written by Clay Chapman, and the art is done by Jacob Rebecca. And this takes place 1,000 years after humans are killed off by artificial intelligence, and one man is brought back to life, David Adams, the man that created the technology that destroyed his people. Now, with the help of android Chloe, who revived him, David will try to restore humanity and stop the AI overlords he created. David embarks on the greatest battle of his life, seeking redemption while also discovering if humanity can or should have any kind of future. This sounds really interesting to me. There's been a couple of different comics and TV shows and even manga and anime that have touched on this theme a lot lately, and they're really getting my attention. I've really gotten into Dr. Stone, which is about humanity coming back after something has wiped them out by petrifying them into stone. The Walking Dead, World Beyond is a show about kids trying to rediscover the world after they've been stuck in like these, basically like a colony or a settlement because of the zombie apocalypse. So these share this theme of like bringing back our civilization after something has devastated them. There was also We Live, which was a great comic book. The number 1 was awesome on that. And so yeah, it's just like this theme that's kind of come up a lot lately. I listened to podcasts, The End of the World with Joshua Clark. These kinds of things really just interest me, like the idea of where we could be headed and what we could do to stop that future. At the same time, how are we going to rebuild beyond that? And I think it's just like this really great filter for like what humanity really is, and breaking down what we want for the world and what we want to be as a species. And so this kind of stuff always grabs my attention. In this Origins book, it looks like we're going to have some AI that wiped out humanity. And so I think that's really interesting because in our current time, not only are we seeing the rise of AI and artificial intelligence, but what is the path forward from there? And how do we keep this checks and balances so we don't have a Terminator future, you know? So this sounds really interesting to me. I'm really excited about it. And I think it's going to be really cool because it's going to really distill down and dig into something very interesting in the modern era and where we're headed from here. The next book on my list is Lonely Receiver number 3. Honestly, I haven't even read the second issue yet. I do have it here, but I haven't sat down to read it. I really like the first one. Not completely sure what it's all about. But the first one was definitely a really interesting read, and so this series has me pretty excited. I also read Zach Thompson's newsletter, and so his insights, I really like the way that he thinks, and he has like this very cool, like introspective concept of the world, you know? He's always looking at like, what does it mean, and how can we break that down farther, and what's the logical conclusion, and that comes through in his writing, especially in Lonely Receiver number 1. So I'm excited to see what's in store down the road with this, and I do plan to get caught up because, like I said, the first one was awesome, and I can only imagine it gets better from there. Rise of Ultraman is another one. This is the third one. I still have not read the second one, but I did enjoy the first one. It's this really cool spin on Japanese, like the Japanese taiju kind of era, and so, or I'm sorry, kaiju era. So, yeah, it's really interesting. It's got that American filter, so it's almost like in the sense of how we licensed Spider-Man and they did something completely different from what we would have done. This is kind of the Ultraman version of that, where we're taking a Japanese property and applying that American filter to it and creating something kind of new and different and possibly interesting. So I'm excited to read the second one so that I can jump in on the third one this week here. That Texas Blood number 5. This book has been incredible. I really enjoy it, and every issue's been different. I know a lot of people really like that first issue. And I thought it was a great way to kind of like introduce and set up the world and kind of give us the tone of the story. It also gave us a feel for the town because the layout of the town and everything is very important, especially when you talk about like small rural communities like they have in West Texas. It's important to understand distance, and you know, just because your neighbor is doing something next door, that's not the same thing as if you were in Jersey or Ohio or something where next door is like 6 inches away. In West Texas, next door might be 2 miles down the road. You may or may not even be able to see your neighbors and stuff. So I thought the first book did a really great job of not only setting the tone, but kind of giving us a feel for the area and the world that this story lives in. And so from there, every book is kind of built on that. But I do think you kind of have to go into this, like, I think, you know, I guess like No Country for Old Men kind of did it, where the open on that movie kind of like sets the tone for everything, you know, and it seems almost unrelated. And so I'm excited to see how this all comes back around at the end of this story. But I've enjoyed it. I think a lot of people started it and probably fell off a little bit. But that Texas Blood, I'm enjoying it, and I'm going to stick it out all the way through the end. Usagi Yojimbo number 14. I've been talking quite a bit about Usagi Yojimbo lately. Right now we're in the middle of this great story arc about, you know, Usagi has went back home and he's trying to escape after it's kind of been like occupied by, you know, like enemy combatants, I guess. So it's a really cool, interesting story. It's really getting into the roots of who Usagi is and where he came from and how his environment shaped the character that we know in the modern Ronin. So I'm enjoying the story arc there. I'm really enjoying Usagi Yojimbo. 14 issues in, I don't think there's been a single one that was boring. So I'm really excited for that. And the cover for number 15 looks absolutely beautiful. I definitely want to try to get a copy of that one for sure. And then My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, number 91. Kind of a weird book to have on my list, but I like to grab books here and there whenever I'm at the comic book shop for my kids, you know, so they'll have something to read. It also kind of helps balance my sense of, I guess, like morals and ethics. Makes it a little bit easier to sleep at night knowing that I bought something for my kids, you know. So anyway, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, number 91. I picked up 90 and I read it to my girls to fall asleep to one night. And it's really cool. It has this character in there. He's like a zebra. His name's Zakora. He learned how to use potions. He's got like this real like underdog story because he couldn't learn magic, but he figured out a way to like kind of create his own magic through alchemy and potions. And he speaks in this rhyme scheme, you know. Everything he says is in like iambic pentameter or whatever. And so it's fun to read. I really enjoy reading it to the kids because the dialogue has like this really nice bounce to it. There's this cool story with like an underground dragon and stuff going on. So yes, believe it or not, I'm pretty excited for My Little Pony because that story was surprisingly engaging. And I really like the way the author did the dialogue. So I'm excited to continue reading that to the kids. Crossover number 1. This is not high on my list. I know a lot of people are really excited for it because it's written by, I'm going to say Tom Taylor and probably be wrong. But I know a lot of people were excited about this when it was announced. It looks interesting. I plan to check it out. I don't know how interested I am in staying in for the long haul. So it is going to be a bit of an upsell for me to continue on this. But I will check it out because I'm sure everybody's going to be talking about it this week. Likewise, the Orderville number 3 is coming out, and I think that's a book that I could probably sit here and talk forever about, but nobody would be interested in listening. So, yin and yang, you know. But the Orderville does some great comic books. They fill in great content in between the seasons, and so if you are a fan of the show, I do suggest checking them out because they're done in a very official way. Like, they are part of the show. And they're done by creators and producers and stuff on the show, so they really are good. I'm usually not into like licensed comics and cross media and all that, but this is a really good one. So I do like the Orderville comic books. I own every issue they've put out, which now they're up to 5, so good deal. Firepower number 5 is going to be out this week. Mighty Morphin number 1, Batman 102, and Thor number 9. I'm not going to talk about those too much here, but those are the books that we will be talking about on Powered Up, Thursday night comic chat with Burke Family 54 Comics on his channel, as well as I believe Panda Awesome's going to be there, and I'm not really sure exactly who the 4th guest is this week, but I'm excited to find out. So tune in Thursday night. We're going to go live at 8 o'clock Central, so that ripples out however across the country. But don't miss it because it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, Firepower number 5, Mighty Morphin number 1, Batman 102, and Thor number 9. That will be the 4 books we're talking there. And then the other 3 things I wanted to highlight here are like collected graphic novel books. So Undone by Blood has a trade paperback coming out. That was a 5-issue series. It's really good stuff. I really like it. They sold me on one character and ended up winning me over with another. It's a great little revenge tale that crosses 2 different timelines. And it's really interesting. It's really fun. And I believe AMC is working on developing it into a series. So no reason not to read it because it definitely has potential in the future. And they also recently announced, at the end of the last issue, they announced that they will be doing a sequel series that will follow, personally, my favorite character from the book. So I'm excited to see where that goes from where they left off. On the Stump, the trade paperback will be out. I believe that's 5 issues also. This is written by Chuck Brown, and I'm just a big fan of his work. I think he did great things with Bitter Root, of course, but his solo work that I've read was The Quiet Kind. It's a one-shot from, I believe, Dark Horse, came out 2019, 2018. And it's just a really good story. I really relate to it. I really like, not necessarily the actions that happen in it, but the feelings and the sentiments, you know. I think it's something that a lot of people that were bullied when they were younger can probably relate to. So that's a great book, and I highly suggest you check out On the Stump. I've only read the first 4 issues of that, but I can assure you it probably lands great because those first 4 issues are so much fun. It's just like a lot of action. There's some politics to it, but it doesn't connect so much to like real life politics, not as much as you would probably think. And so that makes it just like a fun action romp. It's almost like wrestling meets politics, but in a less idiocracy kind of way. So really good stuff in there. And then Beyond the Grid, the deluxe collection will be out. That is 9 Power Ranger comic books that were put together. They take place like in an alternate dimension and stuff. Technically part of canon, but I don't know how they've worked that all out. Either way, Boom Studios does a great job with their hardcover collections and stuff, their deluxe editions. All of the Power Rangers ones have been top notch. I believe there's also some new content in this one, so that might be worth the purchase. But honestly, I'm kind of hoping I get this for Christmas because there are issues in there. There are things in that run that I don't like. But I would very easily put Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 36 and number 37 up against the best of what the Rangers have to offer. And it definitely ranks in there. So if you haven't checked out Beyond the Grid, it's a really good storyline. Having it in a hardcover edition like this, I'm pretty excited to check it out. And hopefully somebody gets me that for Christmas. So fingers crossed. That's it for this week. Kind of a long list, but like I said, I tried to keep it a little bit shorter and faster. So let me know what you think about the changes. Let me know what you would like to see. I've been working on a lot of things behind the scenes. I've had a lot of life going on lately too, so that's kind of slowed me down. But I do enjoy making videos. I'm excited to share everything that, everything that interests me. I like to share with the world. So here I am talking about, New Comic Book Day, November the 4th, 2020. And until next time, keep flipping pages.